Ladies and gentlemen, we are live ahead of another historic Trump announcement. Trump giving a bilateral with Lula, the current president of Brazil. Lula is a fairly left-leaning leader of Brazil. Trump was very close with the former president of Brazil, Bolsonaro. Um, yeah, Trump and Bolsonaro were best buds formerly, but Bolsonaro tried to do an election coup similar to Trump, and Bolsonaro was sentenced to, I believe, prison. So Trump and Lula have a little bit of a shaky relationship. Trump announced 50% tariffs on Brazil last year due to their charges against Bolsonaro. I think they've since pulled those tariffs. So I actually don't think tariffs are like that big on Brazil right now. I'm pretty sure they're, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're just like for the most part 10%, unless except for like aluminum and steel. So based on what's being publicly reported, people are saying that the two main things they're going to discuss at this event are tariffs and crime. Obviously, South America with the cartels. Trump has launched a lot on cartels lately with Venezuela. I mean, number one, and designating cartels as a terrorist organization. So done a lot on his admin to be very tough on crime and drugs, especially. Good morning, Kujirai. Some other things to note about this that I think is important is this guy doesn't speak English. So because of that, I would think of handicapping this similar to the Japanese PM meeting because they had a translator. So I think it's a big point to take into consideration because I think Trump has difficulty getting in his flow state when there is a translator present, because it's not like he can just talk back and forth. We kind of saw the same thing with the Japanese PM. Cartel and rare earth seem giga cheap right now, says Medicine. I actually kind of agree. I'm gonna buy some more. Okay, I'm not saying like. Okay, by the way, don't blindly tail any of my positions. I'll kind of talk through what I have. I have very low certainty on this event. So this is a bilateral. These are really hard to predict. But it's slated to be in the Oval. So I think this will be about a 30-minute duration event. Given that Lula doesn't speak English and they'll have a translator present, I don't expect long opening remarks. I think it'll probably go towards like Q&A a lot. Similar to what happened in Japan, right? I think reporters are going to come in and they'll talk briefly, and then it's just going to be a ton of Q&A that Trump will probably handle most of. Maybe he'll give some to Lula. But for those reasons, I did originally load up on a good amount of no's for this. I mean, tariff, I bought some no's just because, like, I don't think it's as much as a bond as people were thinking. I just think 90 cents is a little expensive. Obviously, they're probably going to talk about tariffs. It's one thing that's on the list. I probably filled this at a bad price at 10 cents, but I don't know. It felt weird to not pick up some no's here, just given like the uncertainty around this event and how, Trump could kind of, given how it's likely to just be a ton of Q&A, and this could be very short. I mean, I expect 30 minutes, but I don't know. This just seems like there's a lot of uncertainty. So tariff felt a little high to me. Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. I went on a lot of no's. Oil, I did buy some no's, but oil's a little sketchy to be on no if you really think Venezuela's as high as it is, because obviously this guy's from South America, so Venezuela's going to be big in play. For Venezuela specifically, that is part of the sticky relationship between Lula and Trump, because Lula was an adamant supporter of, or not a supporter, but was against, obviously, this Maduro raid that Trump did a few months ago. Yeah, on rare earth / mineral, I mean, I don't have a big opinion on this, but it's been talked about in the reporting as part of the deal. And what I have heard as well is apparently in Brazil, media outlets are kind of spamming this whole rare earth mineral aspect of it. That's what I've heard. And then the big thing too is Rigatoni posted that he was on no here, and it just completely overcorrected. I mean, this was at 60 for yes. This was at 60 for yes, and then Rigatoni posted and it just tanked to 40. So I don't really think that's rational. So I mean, maybe it made sense, like I said, for Rig to buy nose in the 40s, but people are just blindly tailing picks, and I think the prices are getting a little crazy. So that's why I bought this at 40. White House stream is up. Okay. I had a little bit of Biden nose I was feeling in the 30s. Biden, obviously risky because crime is a topic that's supposed to come up. Obviously, crime has a big relationship to Biden. And then last thing I'll say is I do have a little bit of first term. Mostly because I think, if this guy gets on the topic of the war, obviously first term is a strike that's spam for Trump. Brazilian media should be totally disregarded. You think? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we'll see. Anyways, I'm not huge on any of this. Maybe it is really stupid to buy it. It just felt like it was potentially an overcorrection going into the 40s. I don't have high confidence on this event. That's why I'm sized so small. And also, I'm on a lot of longer shot no's that are probably going to be dead. Like Tariff. He's probably going to hit Tariff. But I just think, I don't think it should be 90-10. I think it should be maybe 80, maybe 85. But we'll see. Maybe I'll let it right in the open. But again, there's a chance. You're saying there's no alpha in it. Okay, interesting. Well, fair. Is there a reason you think there would be no alpha in it? Is their media landscape just really bad or something? Let me see if I can pull up White House, by the way. White House stream is up. Let me get this in here. We will begin shortly. World Cup is so high. Yeah, it does kind of feel like World Cup is a little high, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe there's I feel like I'm slightly hedged here with some positions, having no on tariffs, yes on some others. I don't know. These bilaterals are pretty hard to figure out what's going on. Oh, that's what they're saying? Well, I don't know if the U.S. media is any better, but yeah, that makes sense. Just lying and propaganda kind of sounds like U.S. media sometimes, but yeah, that's fair. We'll see. Good on Trump, by the way, for doing daily mentions this week. Feel like we've been doing well this week, especially with yesterday. And then I didn't stream the Marco Rubio event, but for anyone that watched that, I was really heavy on Trump 5+. You have some Biden no kind of scared on it. Yeah, I mean, the fear there is just that he's going to talk crime. Hopefully, I'm going to kind of get a lot of positions live, maybe sell out of some stuff. My whole take on this is going to be hyper dependent. If you think something is going to hit, but you're buying just because of slight mispricings, are you not just better off staying out based off probabilities? Just curious. Well, if I'm buying something at 10 cents that I think fair value is 20, I definitely don't think I'm better off staying out, But it just depends what you're going for. I'm comfortable if I just lose $1,000 today. I can handle swings like that. But if you're someone that's maybe doesn't want to deal with any variance, then you could argue doing that. But Yeah. The Trump 5 plus thing was insane. We had the Trump 5 plus thing. So if you didn't know, Marco Rubio said Trump 4 times in his open, and then for 45 minutes answered 100 questions on Trump and did not say President Trump once. He said president every single time, which is like impressive. How do you completely avoid saying President Trump? Yeah, it all depends, what your mo is. I definitely in the beginning was not comfortable at all with losses, which is obviously a good thing starting out. But yeah, that Rubio, and then yesterday with movie star weave. I mean, I had 2,500 movie star at like almost 25 cent average, and just completely weaved it. It's crazy. The stock market weave yesterday. So I feel like yesterday, I know I played the markets really well, but just dealt with variance. But I feel like overall I've been playing some of these markets well. I won't say for this bilateral I feel like incredible, but honestly, with the whole post on like the rare earth thing, I feel like I have a pretty wide margin to be okay because it was trading in the 60s, low to mid 60s for yes, and then you had the rig post and it goes down to 44. Like, you're having trouble with size and panic selling, Frank? I think you're probably have too much money on here. Like, when you start, you should be very humble when you start, right? Like, these markets are extremely competitive. For most people, right? Prediction markets should just be used to like learn more about the world, right? In the sense of like take value and looking at the probabilities because they're very competitive. But yeah, I mean, if you want to trade on PMs, I would just suggest if you're panic selling, you probably have too much money on these things. Like I would say starting out probably no more than $100, just deposit it and then try to build an edge, figure out if you have an edge. Like there's no reason you should have like actual money that matters to you on these platforms in the beginning because it's really hard to have an edge. So I would just suggest starting extremely small and then build from there. There's no reason that that's going to handicap you. You can, if you truly have a repeatable edge, you can build up a bankroll very fast. I mean, Moonlight started with $1,000 like 5 months ago, and he hit 1.2 million. I mean, obviously that's not representative of an average person, but I'm just saying there's no reason you should start with a big bankroll. You should just have money that you're very comfortable losing, and just use it to try to learn, I guess, in the beginning. That'd be my advice. I've seen people that are like will deposit like thousands of dollars in the beginning. It's like, why do you think that you're gonna have an edge? Especially if you're starting out. You have people that have been doing this for a long time. Confused on what constitutes. What am I on, Rig? Rig, I'm actually your counterparty. But I'm not like super confident in this. I just think your post moved this like 20%. So I just feel like it has to be good buying yes in the 40s. And also Brazilian reporters are talking about this rare earth mineral thing a ton. Granted, Dr. Slips, who lives in Brazil, is telling me to discount that heavily. So maybe that's a stupid thing to think about. Yeah, 2 questions on how to find an edge. Okay, basically all an edge is finding an instance where the market's mispriced. But like it's very hard to do that. And no one's I think you guys probably are like looking for a step-by-step video of how to find an edge, but no one's going to do that, right? Because if someone actually has an edge, they're not going to like do a step-by-step guide to give away their edge. If someone gives away their edge, someone's just going to start doing that and then the edge is going to be gone. But you can just think about an edge as why a market is temporarily mispriced, right? Like what is causing whoever is quoting this or making this to be wrong. So the simplest idea of an edge you can think of is like when do you usually start placing bets in advance? Are you waiting a bit with limits? Yeah, I mean, I try to always fill with limit orders unless something's like crazy mispriced. In which case I'll just do a taker. But yesterday made $1,000 in Spurs versus Fold, mispriced because of game 1. Kujidai, if your position was just taking either like the Spurs or the Wolves money line, you probably did not actually have an edge in game 2. To be honest, I don't know. Like sports markets are highly efficient. They're highly liquid. You know, you have people wagering millions and millions of dollars. Yes, Frank, exactly. That is an edge. That is an edge. That is exactly what you just described is an edge. When people thought Trump's proclamation was about some Jewish thing in his event like 3 days ago, but it was actually about something else. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, Kujidai, for that, personally, I don't think, I'm not trying to be mean, truly, I'm just trying to be completely honest. I don't think you had an edge taking 10.5, 26.5, 30.5 money line spread. It's extremely difficult to beat lines on sports, especially pre-market. You have to realize millions and millions of dollars from extremely sharp syndicates go into these lines and hammering them to be accurate. The idea that they're going to be wrong, I mean, they maybe temporarily can be wrong, but the idea of taking like a bottom-up approach where you just think the line is wrong because of ball knowledge, or that you think, with that in mind, how did you figure out that I wasn't going to be related to the Jewish topic lane? I did a lot of research, talked to other people. The proclamation was signed the day before. I was confident, and also I bought on the announcement of what it was actually going to relate to. There was an announcement early that morning on what the proclamation was, and as soon as I saw the announcement, I hammered no's on everything. So I waited till I had confirmation. It was not about the Jewish thing. But guys, the reason I say this and why I think it's so important to start small and like it's difficult to have edges, like you don't want to do minus EV things where you're just going to lose money in the long run and think you have an edge, you know what I mean? Because then you're just going to like lose money, and then you might convince yourself to like deposit more because you have an edge, you're running bad. Like, I don't know. That's why, like I said, I'll always say you should start extremely small. And then also, personally, it's my recommendation to avoid sports. Sports are like very, very efficient. I do sports somewhat, but like I'm doing very specific angle stuff that I like. So like the general person, especially if you're doing sports and you're just buying things pre-market, like it's extremely, extremely difficult to beat those lines. And I think if you want to do sports too, the only thing I would say of like what actually would make sense. Okay, Loxy's getting all right. Let's get back on topic for this event. Loxy is liking election. Trump will relate last Brazil president to his rigged stolen election. Do you think he's going to talk about a stolen election to this guy's face though, Loxy? Isn't that a little attacking? To like tell the current president that you won your election because it was rigged? Sounds a little I don't hate I would probably like the election angle more because there's an upcoming election in Brazil. That was kind of my thought. But this is the Brazilian PM, Lula. He can't understand English. Talked about Pearl Harbor to the Japanese PM. I know, dude, exactly. We'll see. All right, maybe he will say that. Maybe he will just go down this whole title. Okay, Francis Warren brings up a great point. I was actually going to talk about that. Huge alpha leak by Francis right there. There are multiple meetings today with this Brazilian PM. To be fair, none of the other markets are currently marked as open press. So currently, this is what we expect to be the only open press with this guy. But there are multiple events on the calendar later today. So it's not completely impossible for Trump to say, open up the lunch with the PM. I would say it's greater than 1%. So I don't think anyone in here bonds no's, but that's something to take into consideration, that I would not bond no's at the end of this event on any strikes, because it's listed as the plural bilateral meetings, which means if Trump and this guy were to be seen later today, I'd imagine it would go yes if the White House streamed it. So just be cautious that like when this event ends, it's more than likely kind of all over, but there is a small edge case that they could open up something else to multiple events. Yeah, it's titled meetings. I mean, again, this is supposed to be the only open press meeting, this one in the Oval, but it's something to think about. All right, let's see. Iran rejects U.S. Strait of Hormuz deal. Interesting. Yeah, I have some no's too, Rigatoni, on tariff actually. It's kind of jumped to like 20. Did you post about it or something? It's now like 20 cents for a nose. So that hedges me a little bit on if this is like super short. I probably want this to be short more than anything. I think I'll still come out ahead. Hey, if this were to be canceled, I'd come out ahead. I did click some D and Q yes this morning, just because I thought there was more than a 1% chance. But we'll see. More likely than not, I'll lose money on this event because I'm pretty heavy on like long shot strikes. This is getting pretty delayed. It's already been 20 minutes. Plus 20 minutes. It's like 25 minutes. White House stream has chat enabled. That isn't normal, right? Is it enabled on YouTube or Twitter? It's normally enabled on Twitter. Here, I'll send something in the chat. I sent a gang. You're heavy on yeses? All right. Thoughts on Cartel Y? Let me pull up some of the data. Yeah, Cartel's really, really hard to price because it's a very niche, like with what's going on right now. I mean, it's certainly live, but I feel like it's it's just really hard to price. Yeah, exactly, Beefheart. Like he mostly says in relation to the Mexican cartels, and it's obviously out of his language lately, but reports have said they're going to talk about crime. I mean, the reality is, it is more so associated with Mexico. The whole thing is, like, there's all these reports on what they're going to talk about. At the end of the day, this event is mostly just going to come down to Q&A. What questions are the reporters going to ask him? Cuba, yes, for 44. I mean, Cuba, yes, you're basically just saying that they're going to ask him about Cuba. I don't think that's crazy. I was actually looking at that earlier because U.S. really has been ramping up all this Cuba stuff. So, yeah, I don't necessarily think that's a bad buy. But I just think I think your mindset for this should just be what questions are reporters going to ask, because that's going to be 90% of the content here. Which kind of tells me that maybe Mineral was a bad buy. But that's why, like, buying tariff, no, it didn't feel terrible. He can also answer a tariff question without saying tariff. I don't know as much now if he can do that, but... Hey, gang, Sam, I have some DNQY. I mean, now that White House stream is up, it's probably not looking too great for DNQ now, but I did buy some as a, a nice little hedge. I just thought it was more than 1%. Yeah, I have 3K. I probably wouldn't buy it now that White House stream is up, but you never know. It'd be crazy if they just showed the greeting. He could talk about making a mineral deal. Yeah, that's what Brazil's been saying a lot. I don't think it'll be heavily back and forth, Dr. Slips. But I don't have a big sample size to say for that because all we really have is Japan, at least lately. So I think the Q&A will mostly be dominated by Trump. Yeah, they used to have those late markets, Adam, but you know, Jake's been out, and like I just wish, man, these markets were like front page more heavily. Like, are we on front page? I mean, we got a Trump bilateral with a foreign leader, and we're not front paged. Not gonna lie, makes me a little sad. I can't wait till Jake's back from vacation. Frib, love you too. I've seen videos where Trump welcomes Lula at the White House, so not sure about the DNQ. I mean, that's not enough to resolve this. Yes, I don't think, because that's the bilateral greeting. Usually greetings don't count as part of the bilateral. I know, Streamflow. It'd be a bad day. I think Jake's back in like 1 or 2 weeks. I know, Gustavo. It got first slot front page this morning, and I missed it, dude. Imagine how much good flow was on the McDonald's mention. I gotta play earnings calls, man. Oh, or I gotta diversify. I'm gonna make like no money this month. I gotta figure this shit out. I gotta start quoting combos or something. I'm getting scared. We need some big markets, some big mentions. We need Trump to do a national address. Mamdani, yeah, Mamdani's, you know. I mean, for earnings calls, Sam, it's like really easy for people to get historical data, obviously. Transcripts are all public. But you know, you have to kind of, I think, to find good edges in earnings calls, you have to think a little more qualitatively on the company, right? But yeah, I got a first slot. That's why like people are acting like mentions is like dead. Mentions are not dead. It's just probably they want to spotlight more impactful mentions, which I think like this Trump one's a perfect example. Like I think Trump mentions and earnings calls are like pretty undeniably good mentions. There's undeniable actual somewhat utility to these. Whether or not that means most people are just purely speculating on these markets and just having fun, it's like okay, but there is a utility you can definitely argue from like Trump mentions and from earnings calls. So wow. Did loyalty and revenue both hold? That's kind of crazy. I actually think Trump mentioned starting late is a good thing, if anything, because it gets people invested. They start doing the Trump mention when it's supposed to start, and then they have to wait. Brazil is the first transgender population country? What does that even mean? All right, Trump, we're 30 minutes in. What are we doing here? Trump mentions were especially fun a few weeks ago when like everything he would say would move the oil markets for like Iran stuff. Then it was like especially big markets. Someone removed their 25K DNQ. Did they remove it or did they get clicked? Let's see. Oh, the fact that Brazil is super pro-trans. Let's see. Did someone click the... Can I filter for the exact, like, the DNQ strike? Karsten, you can't be front running my stream over here, man. What are you doing? I have a clear no tailing rule, so now my stream does not move any markets anymore. We have a no tailing rule that everybody watching the stream has to subscribe to. You cannot be on the same strikes as me. Mexico is cheap in the 30s? Huh. If Trump goes off about Brazil trans people, then we better pull all nose immediately. I'm not going to lie. I do have a tiny bit of trans Y. But it's probably stupid. I know, Carson. I'm messing. But trans hit rate in historical bilaterals is like 17 cents. So, granted, maybe it's less so now because, he's with a guy where there's a language barrier, but I don't necessarily think so. So, I felt like 12 cents wasn't terrible. Oh, man, something just got nuked. What got nuked? Let's see. That doesn't look like anything got nuked. Oh, tariff did. Ooh, someone market bought tariff up to 95. Holy shit. Damn. Did you see that, Carson? Someone market bought to 95. Holy hell. How much did they buy? Oh, wait. Yeah, they bought 1,195. Wow, maybe I'm really stupid. You feel like I'm on it for the clip, Sam? No. It's actually sharp. Historical hit rate 17. You really think there's enough to cause it to be lower here because there's a language barrier? I don't know. It's still clearly in his vernacular. I mean, he hit it randomly in front of children 2 days ago when I sold. My gosh, dude. I wish there were not... If there had not been kids there, I would have never sold my trans Y. And I would have made it out okay. That was so disgusting, the late trans hit, man. Should have started this week up like 5K on the first Trump event. Yeah, tariff is crazy, guys. That's why, you have to be, super price sensitive. Someone bought tariff no up to 95, meaning you could have gotten filled at yes at 5 cents. Or, sorry, someone filled tariff yes up to 95, so you could have gotten no at 5 cents. Versus now people are filling no at, 15 cents. It's really important to set up limit orders, guys. I mean, and then just catch a better price. Getting no at 5 cents is 3 times better than getting no at 15 cents. Do you realize how insane that is? If you're buying no at 5 cents, you have to be right 1 in 20 times. If you're buying it at 15 cents, you have to be right 1 in about 6 or 7. 6, 7, there we go. But, did he really say don't listen to this, children? Man, this is getting so delayed. Lula arrived at 11:21 a.m. per White House. So he's definitely there. But is AP showing anything? Besant and Lutnick are there in the Oval? That's pretty bullish for a mineral deal, no? If Besant and Lutnick are there? I mean, maybe this means they'll take speaking time. Shoot, I just showed on my Twitter that I had the Caro tweet there. Good for Caroline. Very happy for her baby, by the way. But let's see, is AP showing anything? All the mismogs makes you want to do stink bids. Well, honestly, if there was an event to do stink bids, it would maybe be now, because even when this event ends, we could theoretically get another event later today, because title is multiple meetings, so I think they'd have to hold the market open until this guy officially leaves. Crazy, man. I just need 100K click and then I could just live my life. What are stink bids? Say a strike's trading at 50 cents. You put a stink bid is putting a order for 10,000 shares at 1 cent. So if someone mogs the order book and just market buys everything, you could theoretically get filled. It's kind of what a stink bid is. It's basically putting bids up in the hopes that someone makes a mistake and fills you at an insanely favorable price. Yes, Gustavo, the angle for Biden is that they're expected to talk about crime. That's why Biden's actually kind of higher. So there is one angle. If they talk about crime, cartels, they'll talk about Biden letting all these people in over the border. All right, Trump. Let's get this event going. Low ball bids? Yeah, it's fair. Man, Besant and Lutnick going to be there. How does that change things? Do I drink and trade? I don't advise it, but yes, I have done it in the past. I've done it in the past for way too much money. It would help me cool down, especially when I'd be like live trading events where it's like you have to be really, really fast. It would kind of calm me down when I was trying to size up. During sports, I used to live arb a lot across like different markets, and like arbing live can be scary because you fill one side of the arb first, and then you have to fill the other side in time, and that would be a little stressful. And I was pretty bad at it, doing it all manual. But that's where drinking would help, because then I wouldn't feel as scared to click like 50K that I knew was mispriced. But I don't advise it. I don't advise drinking in general. Iran is still reviewing messages from the U.S. via Pakistani mediation and has not yet finalized its response to a U.S. proposal to end the war, says Tehran. They're expected to hand over their response today. Look, Cold Harbor. All I know is I'm trying to cut back on my drinking habit. It's so easy to build a drinking habit, man. That's why I caution it, man. I used to never be a heavy drinker at all. Then I start cracking open a couple drinks a day. Suddenly it becomes a daily thing, and then I'm like, man, having a couple drinks every day. Dr. Slips, that's how you do it. You think Hottest Yes is undervalued? What is it at? Well, at 36 cents. You're probably not wrong, to be honest. I'm surprised it's actually down to 36, but am I worried about the Hanta virus? I've lost the SB mindset. I know, dude. I am not worried about the Hanta virus at all, by the way. I don't even put an ounce of worried. Kujidai, it probably depends on if you're making or losing money, to be honest. If you're losing money consistently and you keep doing it and it's harming you, that's probably where you gotta think maybe you got a prediction addiction. Hanta pandemic, yes, went up to 30. Yeah, it's whenever there's big news cycles like that are, I know beef heart. That's what I gotta. All right, look, if you're making money, there you go. Just, it's important. It's important that if you start to lose money, you be careful to not go into like negative habits of like, oh, I'm going to make it back and I'm going to go bigger and bigger and I'm going to like, don't do that. There is a very fine line to having a problem and a good thing, I guess. Like, especially if you're like someone constantly doing it. Like I'm on PMs literally like 12 hours a day. So someone could easily say I'm quote unquote addicted, but obviously it's like my primary income. So I kind of have to be doing this a lot. So, but yeah, Martingale does fail. Let me tell you. Yeah, it depends if you're affecting relationships. But I won't lie. My fiance used to like try to get us to travel during like playoffs, like NFL playoffs or something. And I'm just like, I cannot do that, So, or like during a big Trump speech, when you got to tell the gang, hey, I can't make it out for drinks tonight. Trump's about to give a briefing. Cold Harbor is spreading FUD in the chat. Crazy. Where are those slot mention markets you mentioned with Catboy? Here, I'll show you. All right, we're going to go on a slop finding journey. Okay, Here we go. Let's find some slop. My screen's a little tilted. Here. All right, let's find some slop mentions. Wait, did I mess up the angle? Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay. All right. Let's see. What will Stephen A. Smith say during First Take? That's a slop market. That's a slop market. But yeah, it's not as slop. I would also say like announcer markets are kind of slop markets. But yeah, Radar is right that there's not as much slop now that Jake is out. He was what many considered the slop king. Look, I'm not firing shots on NBA. It's just, No, look, Sam, calling them slop markets does not mean you can't print in slop markets. Notice how me and Moon were saying slop markets are some of the best markets because, like, you got to think about it. Like, who's providing liquidity for those types of markets? Probably a good chance it's like KT. So, a friend of mine gained a few grand, but he keeps posting $50 orders because he's scared to size up. Do I think he could drink some beers to have some courage? Look, I will never recommend drinking and trading. I try to be a positive influence. Yeah, I mean, I think, Sam, for like those really small mentions that are kind of slop markets that no one wants to quote, it's probably, Did I watch any sports before mentions? I watched college football mostly. Watched a little bit of college wrestling. I did wrestling in high school. Big wrestling fan, real wrestling, not WWE. But yeah, mostly college football. I didn't watch NFL, surprisingly. That's why, like, when I try to find edges in sports, it kind of sucks because I don't know shit about sports. Dang, that's brutal, Dr. Slips. That's how it goes. I was 132 pounds. Ever do UFC? I used to watch UFC a lot, and I do trade UFC events a good amount whenever there's big ones. So I do understand UFC because I did watch UFC in college a lot. I loved UFC back then. That was during like the OG like era where like McGregor kind of started in the beginning, took it to like a huge level, and then you had like Brian Ortega, who was like, this was a while back. He wasn't ever that good, but I remember Ortega Holloway. That was probably the fight I was most excited for in my life. I think was Ortega Holloway. When that fight happened. Sean Strickland mention market. Yeah, he'd be a good character. They should do more UFC mentions of like the pre-fight stuff. Man, dude, this is like so delayed. Holy shit. What are we doing? Biggest slop market I've ever personally traded on. Maybe it wasn't a slop market, but there was a market for how many screens? Oh, I have a screen right here, and I have a screen right here, and I have a screen right here. There was a market on the Masters, and it was like a total slop market, but it got the most incredible flow. See, Gustavo's saying not to trade the slop markets. Gustavo's the slop king, so he doesn't want you in those. He doesn't want you in those order books. But the Masters slot market was so good. It kind of turned into a farm, which is sad. I don't condone farms. But you got to do what you got to do. That's all I'll say on that topic. All right, Trump, let's get this bilateral going. You might have farmed that one. You were so confused. Do you think they will switch to bilateral lunch? No, I just think they're just going to start it later. This happens a lot on these types of markets where like they'll just be super delayed. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Relgen. If you define when the main card starts, just running it throughout. Probably a good way to do it. This CLV is so fake because like once this actually goes live, I'm gonna lose literally all my CLV. So I think it's dumb. DNQ pumping. I will sell my DNQ. It's gonna happen, dude. Let's see. See if someone will click me for 3K for 5 cents. If you guys don't think this is happening, click my shares. Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting filled. Come on, keep filling, keep filling. No, I got jumped to 4 cents, bro. Is that someone in here? If that's someone in here, that's like so unbelievably rude. Jeez, man. This is why I don't try to buy things live. All right, now I'm filling at 3 cents. Come on. I just need to sell 1K to have made back my money on my DNQs. Come on. Oh my god, dude. Someone jumped me to 2 cents. Alright, I can't get out. Even though you're the one that told me it was yeah. Alright, I'm gonna pull. I guess I'll hold. I sold a little bit at 4 cents, so now I'll only lose $18 when it goes open. That's stocks right there. Imagine this ends up getting canceled. I'm happy that I actually held that. There's no way this is getting canceled though. But yeah, man, I miss those. Oh, I just want some more legendary, like the Mamdani bilateral meeting with Trump. That was so legendary. I'm glad we're getting daily Trumps, but just any chance of a ballroom mention? Don't really think it's coming up here. What's ballroom at? I mean, he has been spamming it, but I think it's priced pretty fair. What if the ultimate strategy is just to play DNQ? Probably is. Oh, it's now back to being bonded. Sad. Sad day. Man, I have to sit here for an hour waiting for this dang event. What is Trump doing? You like ballroom no? I mean, it's just kind of expensive. I'm not going to buy ballroom no at 85. What do you mean, Frank? You're telling me you don't want to watch the Punjab Kings versus the... What's the other team? The Royal Challengers Bengaluru? It is crazy, actually, by the way, how much volume they're doing on cricket. Like, this game's going to probably do 10 million volume. I mean, as an American that just is totally self-centered, did not know. Yeah, but Dr. Slips, I actually think earnings mention markets are so good for the space because they show like what mentions could be, and I think in terms of like regulatory wise of keeping mentions, I think it's really good because you can make a clear argument that like having earnings call mentions are like actually, you know, good. Whoa, am I lagging? Oh no, it's back. Revenue no McDonald's earnings call? Yeah. I know, but I remember everyone got rinsed at the last one like 3 months ago. People were huge on revenue no. Man, can we get this market up? What are we doing? Like, or not market up, but can they just go live? Holy cow, Trump, man. Let's get this going. All right, I already know I'm going to be angled. Too low. I'm like already getting hungry. Have I eaten anything today? What did I eat today? I had a Cliff Bar. Okay, I've had food. The popularity of cricket really tells us how totally over colonialism we are. True. AMD 2 days ago would have been sick. Did they not have an AMD market? What if they're having the lunch first? I don't think they... They will. I think they're just going to push back the meeting. These are world leaders. I'm so impatient. Dude, it's been almost an hour, Cold Harbor. An hour. And the event hasn't even started. This is crazy. Even for Trump, man. My God. I'm hungry, too. Look, man. I'm just waiting for Trump, man. It's like this guy's not allowed to be this late. I'm just hungry. That's why I'm like actually upset. Have I ever traded crypto up down markets? If your goal is to actually be profitable over the long run, which is very difficult, I would not advise crypto up down unless you're being a market maker. Market makers probably print there, but obviously it's very complex to build a market making tool for crypto up down. But if you guys think that you can like do technical analysis for crypto up down and like be like, oh, I did TA, this is a bull flag, buy crypto. I don't know. I'm very I would be very questionable on the long-term success of that strategy. Yes, Connor, I do. I am partnered with them as part of my streams, so I do receive compensation. I will always answer that. That's why I have this thing all the way over there. I'm happy waiting the hour for my KS. What is KS? Man, Trump. Scroll up. Come on, Trump. This is just... My streams are just waiting rooms now. G's, K's, whatever. Oh, he's talking about chat. Dude, she's at work. I should order something though. I know, I do need to be 100%. I need to like get a better nutrition. I need to take care of myself better. I have started going to the gym though. I've gone twice in the last 4 days. I'll probably go again today. Gangs instead of cartels or thugs. She actually should call in sick. Like I am sick, by the way. I don't know what I got, but maybe you can hear it in my voice a little bit. But I did pick something up. I don't know what it is. Connor, I think I would do that, ideally. But, I mean, it's a lot more, like... I try to blend the two with content and trading. I don't think I'm, like, the best trader in the world. But, like, you know, there's not a lot of traders that can, like, talk or make content. So, it's a good niche to be in, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I would like to do that, to be honest, long term, if I could build out a big enough edge, but it's obviously scary. Like, I have a lot of, you know, with expenses, things like that. But that is probably my long term goal. Either that or, like, get into building. What I thought about a lot, that'd be really good if I, say, were to get off, say, social media or content, would be building a company in the space, I guess. Not like a prediction market, but there is so much there's so much stuff being built in the space or in prediction markets, and like 90% of it's being built by people that don't actually trade on PMs. So I feel like there is a huge, like, having someone who actually understands trading PMs and like being able to build something with someone who knows how to code would, I feel like, be a massive edge. And then obviously the market cap there is huge, right? I mean, like VCs are paying millions of dollars for, I will say maybe products that aren't like that amazing. I don't know, or maybe they are. I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative on stuff, but yeah, we talked about this, Sam, when we met in person. But long term, I've thought about that a lot. Start an investment fund so you can set up with other people's money and earn a cut. Yeah, I've thought about that too. My thought process on that, right, is a lot of what I do. Thoughts on him saying first term? I probably like first term, but I think it's getting a little expensive. I wouldn't buy it at probably 54, Mac Daddy. I bought it at like 45, but it's kind of getting expensive. But he does hit it very frequently. So, but the thing on the investment fund is it's not like an issue that I run into is that I don't have enough money. Most of the type of like strategies I do to have an edge, I get limited by available liquidity very often. So it's not like having more money would be better. Where I would think about doing an investment fund or something like that, it would be if I had like a big scalable edge, like where I think it would make sense to do a fund would be something like quoting RFQs for like combos, right? Because you can scale that heavily and having a ton of money is needed to be able to, take the other side of all these like huge, sometimes very high paying long shot stuff. So that would make sense. Or if I got good at market making sports, it would be good to have a few $1 million because your edge is going to be pretty small there and you're probably going to make a lot of money from rebates from exchanges. So there it would make sense. But again, I'm not sophisticated enough to market make sports well. I don't know enough. And then the last thing I would say would be it'd be helpful to have more money just for like bonding. I still think one of the biggest like structural inefficiencies on prediction markets are things that maybe are priced at like 95 that should be 99, and doesn't always make sense to like full port into it because the average return you can get on PM sometimes is like so high on certain things if you know what you're doing. But so those are the three areas I've considered like maybe starting a fund, but right now it just doesn't make sense, I guess. Is there a legal framework? I think there is. I could start like a partnership, right? But yeah, then you got to invest other people's money. It's a whole thing. But I have considered that. I think that would be cool long term. I just think like starting a fund is more so like you need to have something that's very scalable and you need to probably be more quantitative background. Like I'm mostly like a sharp taker, right? So it's kind of hard for me to size up, right? Like there's a reason people like Doma probably aren't doing like all these funds or like 50 pence, because at the end of the day it's like you should be able to just build up your own port, make enough money trading yourself, I don't know. That's my thoughts. Interestingly, there's also still been like nothing posted about this. We're 1 hour late, by the way. 1 hour late. A full hour. Sam, yeah, it's a good question because it's difficult, right? Like, do I trade politics markets? Occasionally. I don't think I necessarily have an edge for elections. Yeah, the issue, Sam, is like building stuff for sharps. Your market is very small, right? But you can technically build more expensive products because like if you actually build something that's going to help sharps make more money, it'll be like you can charge them a lot of money versus like building stuff for retail. You have a much bigger audience to sell stuff to. I guess I would probably want to build something more so for sharps, unless you build a really good product for retail. I just wouldn't want to build like some piece of shit for retail and then you just farm retail users that are probably just going to lose money. Like if you build the wrong product, like I don't know if I'd be super excited to build that unless I like built something that's really good. DNQ unbonded again? No, it's 2 cents. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. Like, I'm not gonna knock specific companies that do this, but like there's certain companies that are selling things for like $500. Oh, Foster's home. White House was waiting for Foster, so this should be starting soon. They knew Foster was out. Derby was funny. That guy got on your horse and the horse ended in last. Yeah, I literally commented on that guy. I don't think he actually got dead last, but he was like 4 to 5 away from dead last. Yeah, exactly, Sam. I mean, at the end of the day, if you build a tool actually for sharps, like retail users are still gonna buy it, right? You know, so like, or if they're interested and they want to have an edge. I mean, I think like OddsJam probably did the best model for anything in terms of, but also, you know, you could make qualms about how they market stuff somewhat, maybe, I don't know, but they got huge scale. And I think a ton of sharps did get in through their tools for like arbing and stuff like that. So I think what they did with arbing was really, really good in the beginning. I don't really know why Cartel dropped that much, but it honestly might be worth it at 22 cents now, but yeah, I think Dr. Slip, so many people got in from OddsJam into like the sharp community. It's crazy how many people come from that with like arb betting back then. That was like so huge. Because that concept of people, I started not through OddsJam, but I did start with arbitrage. That was like how I got into PMs. I used to just all day arb on PMs, and then I started arbing across different exchanges on PMs for like political stuff, mentions. I was arbing mentions, dude. I made like 2K last year arbing the State of the Union. There were like 20-cent spreads on things that Trump would say during SODU, because Kalshi had just launched their mentions for the first time. So, and obviously Pauly had a ton of mentions back then. It was such a crazy era. That's why, like, I truly believe so many things in life, the biggest edge is just getting in early. Like, I'm not the greatest trader at all, and I'm not like the smartest guy, but it was just like there was so much like free money back then. It's just like crazy. I mean, still, at least now I've like gotten more of an edge to where like I can still find stuff, but wow, Trump's inviting CEOs from Nvidia, Apple, Exxon to China trip. I don't know why this guy's so late. It's kind of crazy. I mean, what's going on? I mean, we're over an hour now. I'm starving at this point. It's crazy how early they started the stream, too. All right, my computer's also, like, getting super slow. I'm going to close out of some tabs. Hopefully my stream doesn't, like, shut down. I have snacks, actually. I bought a ton of snacks. You know what? I'm going to eat a snack. I swear, he's going to start right when I leave. I'll be right back. He's going to start. He's going to start. All right. We made it. Just back in December, I could get mentioned yes bonds for like 90 cents. It's crazy how much more competitive. Did I get out of my DNQ position? No, I'm still holding it. But I will sell it 5 cents. Oh, my computer's so slow. What's happening? All right, I need to close out a situation thing that I was using. Close out of this. What the heck? I'm going to reload my Kalshi. It's like getting slow. But yeah, Tanya, that's like legit. There were so many things like 90-cent bonds back then. It's funny. The only things BFART that I did keep by my desk was this. So this should tell you my priorities. I had a packet of White Claws. I gotta get my life together. Do I ever aim to make a certain amount in a day? Not really. You deal with a ton of variance, so like my stuff is like up, down, up, down, up, down. You'll lose money, win money. I'm sorry, Dr. Slips. Is it because of me? Well, I also don't want to hold it and then put a bid up and not look at it and then get adverse. Like if this actually does end up not happening, because then like what's the point in holding if I'm just gonna get adverse filled if they like announce that they're no longer open to the press? No, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Beefheart. I should not be doing what I'm doing with drinking. I gotta get it under control. Man. We are just so late. Alright, I'm not bringing it up, but I am going to sell. Take a shot every time one of my strikes are hit. That's smart. You guys realize, like, you want to know a huge edge here? As soon as this goes open, you should click yes on certain strikes. You know what's sad? This is not even close to a record Trump event delay. I've waited like 2 hours before. I don't think it's Trump's fault. I think it's more so Lula's fault. I think Lula like arrived late. But it's very rare. What I will say is it's very rare for White House to start a stream and be this late. Do I have a sizing goal? I would recommend quarter Kelly for most people. I'm pretty risk averse. Even quarter Kelly, you probably will have to size up more than you think about. But unfortunately, like, yeah, like Dr. Slips is saying, like, you're very limited by available liquidity. What I will say is, like, when I start to think about stuff like Kelly, is when you get markets that are, like, really good flow. Like, Iran press conference. Like, for that market, I had 60K on all the strikes. Versus, like, today, what do I have? Like, $1,000 at risk. I have, like, nothing on this market. So, it's kind of like during the month, during, like, slow times, like, I'm just trying to, like, make little gains. But most is going to come from, like, really big markets. Like I'll maybe make like 1K one day, $500 one day, and 1K another day, and I'll maybe lose 2K. But then you have like a really big, really good market, and you make 10K. Like it's kind of how my graph looks like a lot. Alex, I would not really index at all to like this impacting fair values too much. Like when they're late. It's just like so normal for Trump to be late to events that I think every time you try to like assign a reason to it of like, oh, this should impact him saying things or like fair values, I don't really think it does. Exactly, Beefheart. Fair value for rare earth as mineral. I don't know. It's actually really hard to give like a fair value because, right? It's not. This is a very one-time event that we get. All we know on rare earth mineral is there's been reporting that they're gonna talk about rare earth mineral. Holy shit, dude! DNQ up to 20 cents. Holy. What is happening? Is there any reporting on like? Is this actually gonna go DNQ? Dude, people are buying at 30 cents. This might actually go DNQ. Wait, what? People are buying at 30 cents. Did they announce something? I don't see anything. There's been no mention from the pool. I'm still holding 2K. I sold 1K. But check that green, and I'm on a ton of no's. Let's go. Hopefully they cancel this thing. Come on, do it. Cancel it. Cancel it. Let's go. Come on. Wouldn't that be great? Get a nice little win for once. Holy shit. 2K? What the hell just... All right, I got to put a bid to, like, sell this if someone's going to, like, mog it up. Let me go 77. Maybe 2,000. Has AP said anything? AP hasn't said anything. Do I sell? Yeah, no's also... Wait, no's also resolved to no on DNQ. I don't know what's going on. Is there any edge on this actually being over? Dang. I'm just going to get my hopes up, and then it's still going to happen. But what I will say is, like, as soon as this starts, I got to get ready to, like, click a ton of yes. I guess I'm just going to hold, to be honest. I will definitely come out ahead if this is canceled. I'm trying to get info on what's happening. White House press pool hasn't said anything. So, or at least I can't see it on any of my data sources. So maybe someone has some good piece of info that I just don't see. But I haven't heard any reporting on this going to close outside of this just being very long. Maybe Fox News or someone's talking about it. But I just think I'm at an informational disadvantage, so I'm not going to sell any of my positions, you know what I mean? Like, there's news. Rig, where's the news? Rigatoni might have the breaking news. I'm just hanging out on my stream, waiting to see what happens. Let's see if Rigatoni posted something. Okay. Here's the news. Let me pull this up. Alan Deet. Wow. Okay, here's the news. Strange visit by Luis to the White House. Trump has received him alone without press. Both have entered the Oval Office, and the press conference is already running more than half an hour late. With reporters waiting outside, the meeting arrives marked by the prior tension between the two leaders in the situation of Jair Bolsonaro. Wow. I'm going to add this guy to my notifications. So apparently it already started and there's no press, but he could easily call in the press. So now the question is Trump going to call in the press? But, I mean, we'll see. Update? Go into the replies. Security is asking the press to disperse for the moment. The meeting between Trump with lunch is being held behind closed doors. Dude, if this is closed press, let's go. So apparently Security is asking the press to disperse for the moment. The meeting between Trump and Lula. Oh, I moved my camera. Is being held behind closed doors. Huh. I don't know, Avocado. It's really hard to say. Like, what's crazy is that you guys realize this was posted like 40 minutes ago. And like, if you knew this, like no one had this guy on notifications. So this was literally posted. Let me make this bigger. Let me hide some of these markets and stuff. Okay, look. Pretty crazy. This was posted like 30 minutes ago. No, 40. When was this posted? This was posted literally at 11:49, which is 40 minutes ago. And DNQ was still trading at 5 cents. Like, that's just crazy. And someone was still bonding it up to like 1 cent. So people were asking about edges earlier today. Like, this is an example of an edge. If you have good information like this, to have seen that this event had a much higher chance of not qualifying. Now, we don't know. They could easily bring in the press later. So we are monitoring the situation. But check Discord. All right, let me check. Let me see. I think someone sent me a message. Wait, Jonah, you DM'd me on Discord? What's your Discord? Are you Jag? This is really weird. You'll break even if DNQ. So now people think it's happening again. I don't really know what's going on. People panicked. Well, I mean, I would be panicking based on what that reporter said. And the fact that, like, they're saying the lunch with Lula is being held behind closed doors. I'm kind of curious on, like, why is it going back up to 15 cents? It's crazy that no White House reporters are, like, talking about this. I'm looking at a feed of, like, White House reporters, and literally none of them are talking about it. Like, why are they not saying anything? Iran, yes, and DNQ, yes, for less than 90 cents total. It's probably a good buy. Well, now people are confident this is happening again. So I think it's happening. I mean, I don't know. DNQ's up to now back to 5 cents. I don't think they would sell it for profit, though, at 5 cents. I do not have an... This is such a crazy market because, like, tariff Y is, like, 70 cents. Tariff Y is, like, 70 cents, but DNQ's 15? Like, just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm going to probably sell my... I mean, do I sell my rare earth at 40 cents? I don't know what the hell's going on. Just gotta wait it out. More news? Libby Alon? How is this not showing up in my feed that I have? Let's see. Oh, I have her on my Twitter notifications, but... This is so bizarre. Okay, so this person, Libby Alon, is saying, all right, so she's saying, at the request of Brazilian President Lula da Silva, he requested to meet privately with Trump so that they would have lunch, and only afterward would the press be brought into the joint meeting. So that seems to suggest they're going to bring in press at the end. So it's not. People think it's probably not going to be DNQY. You got 100K shares of DNQ at 1 cent? Ah, my Kalshi's slow again. We gotta close out of this situation monitor. Oh, Lula. Man. So I guess they're saying they'll probably bring in press after the lunch, I guess. Very, very weird events. Anybody managed to sell at a good price? I probably should have. I mean, I had like almost 2K CLV, but I just didn't have I didn't have an information like edge to be able to sell, to be honest. Don't bilateral meetings usually happen in the Oval? Yeah, they usually do, but a bilateral meeting is just a meeting between two presidents or two leaders, so this would count for bilateral. So they're saying Lula requested a change in the meeting protocol with Trump so that the closed-door meeting would be before the press briefing. So they're probably still going to take questions. That's what it seems. Very bizarre turn of events. So now we're stuck here waiting for this Lula guy. Oh my gosh. Just buy both tariff and DNQ. I mean, it does change the format a little bit where he's going to come out probably after the lunch and just take a bunch of questions. I mean, kind of same format as it'll kind of be same format as we expected, being in the Oval with Q&A. Someone might ask about China. I mean, they could for sure. But, well, it is crazy, like, these prices. Like, stuff like China is now back to 50-50. China was, like, 80 cents for a Y. Like, before people got afraid of this ending. Yeah, Adam, it's cheap if you pull out the supposed 9% DNQ possibility. Because if you add that, then, you know, it's 87 or whatever. Yes, Karoshi. That's what I was talking about. Like, minerals was hugely reported in Brazil. That's why it's one of the only yeses I was on for this event. But I don't know if the format's going to change a lot with what we're going to get, given they did all this closed press stuff first. Ah, man, I wish it stayed closed press. I would have made, let's see, I would have lost 460, 800. Okay, so I would have lost 880 in yeses. Let's see, let's say say $900, 900 or so, maybe up to 1,000 yeses, I would have made 2,000 on D&Q. So I would have made about 3,000 if this ended up being a closed press. That would have been nice. Would have taken that. Would have made up for a lot of my bad variance the past week, but it is what it is. No way this meeting should have been 99 for this to be open, though. You bought 200 worth of Iran shares to pay out Iran no shares or Iran yes shares? I assume you bought Iran no shares, Jorge, right? Do I always buy DNQ? No, I don't always buy it, but I bought it here because it was a penny, and bilaterals have a history of like potentially being close press. So that's why I just thought it was north of 1 cent. And then, we got lucky that here's the instance where it looks like it actually could be closed press. I mean, granted, now, again, most of the reporting now is that they will take questions, so it seems like it's going to go back open. That's why the market's priced where it is, but what a freaking event, man. This is a marathon Trump stream. Got rid of 1,200 Iran no at 60. Nice. Good price. Buy low, sell high. Man, I probably should have taken a little bit of profits on my D&Q, Is what it is. Well, Kuroshi, there's been all this back and forth on if it's happening or not. This is a pretty crazy mention to do for your first one. You took a huge loss selling all your yes? Yeah, man, you can't panic sell on stuff. You gotta... Like, I was holding all no's, but I didn't even take profits. Just because, like, I didn't have good information, You gotta realize, like, people with better information are the ones that are probably trading a lot of size in times like this. So... I didn't have good information, so probably better to just hold. Man, this is really just dragging on. I guess it was at the request of Lula, by the way. My mistake was not getting a ton of Brazilian reporters. No, it still hasn't started yet. Period. Man, that's a weird... you just got a dot for your Twitter. But I should have had Brazilian reporters set up for notifications. ETF, this still hasn't even happened. Lula, the president, requested to do a closed-door meeting first. And then apparently they're going to let in reporters at the end to do an open door. Yeah, man. I was definitely... Can't panic on this. What do you think is crazy mispriced, Dr. Slips? Like them saying there's a 90% chance that this goes open. I assume you're probably buying D and QY, and you think there's probably a higher chance that this isn't gonna go open. I personally, based on the reporting, it says it's gonna go open, but like they say they'll bring in more people for questions. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't have. So, based on the reporting happening right now, it's probably going to come back open. But, like, I don't feel like I have any informational advantage here to be, like, selling, or just trading these. Was I a full-blown alcoholic at Isla Vista? I actually wasn't. I actually didn't drink that much at Santa Barbara. Yeah, this is weird. But yeah, I mean, something to think about is like how this changes it now that they've had the closed door conversation after the fact. You know, it sounds like he's probably more so going to give a summary of what they talked about potentially. So I don't know, like, if people in Brazil were Border is one of the only strikes I haven't seen return to the price it was trading at. Any reason? I don't know. I don't think there's any really valid reason. DNQ back to 15%, not taking any profit on those. I don't know. Probably not. Like, I bought this at 1 cent. I already sold 1K for 5 cents. So I already I returned it to cost. I'll probably just hold it as like a hedge if this doesn't end up being like there's nothing that makes me feel like I have a better read on if this is going open or not, if that makes sense. Like, this is a weird thing with this Brazilian leader. It's mostly Brazilian news outlets that are reporting on it. I don't have like good information flow from these Brazilian outlets. Like, the White House reporters, for whatever reason, aren't really reporting much on this. Like, I couldn't see anything coming through, which is just so weird. Why are White House reporters not talking about this? Like, what's going on, White House reporters? No one in the White House press pool was like tweeting about this. Isn't that like good information that we'd want to have? Yeah, DM me whatever your edges slips. You're scared, Loxy? Loxy, are you like all on yeses? I mean, I think, like I said, given they're going to come out now, they've already had the conversation, which changes things. They're going to probably talk about what Loxy's all yes. They're probably going to talk about what they discussed. So I would maybe use that to think about like what strikes are possibly going to be undervalued now, you know? And I guess they'll probably take a lot of Q&A. Oh, I got to add back? All right, let me add you. Did you DM me on Discord or on Twitter? I just followed you on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it. Plot twist Q&A is in Portuguese? That'd be crazy. Let me just add some. All right, I just add you on Disc too. They did not fire Jake. He's just been out. He's on vacation. They would never fire Jake. That guy's goated. Logan has 30K DNQs. It was underpriced, man. I guess I should have clicked more. At 1 cent. Crazy, I could have flipped it. See, this is the issue with streaming. You know, I'm so dialed into the chat. I'm not as locked in to trading it live when stuff like this happens. It is going to be a race to click DNQ nose as soon as they turn the cameras back on. Man, now I'm still stuck starving, though. Let's see what mentions chat is saying. I'm sure mentions has to be going crazy. I'm just constantly on the site. And I also usually I'm the one requesting markets for like Twitter and stuff. I mean, for Trump and stuff, because like I'm pretty dialed in on like when news reporters or when roll call announces. Dang, yeah, Logan showing his 30K TNQ. Man, this is a marathon. How long is their meeting behind closed doors going to be? Like, if this actually goes DNQ, we wouldn't know for hours until someone says, like, he's spotted leaving. Am I getting any good notifications on my phone? Or is it just a ton of apps telling me dumb stuff I don't care about? Reporting says expected to go past 3 p.m. Are you serious? You're joking. You're joking. He's messing. He's messing. There's no way. Oh, I couldn't do it. Anytime I get a calcium, my heart palpitates. Do you get notifications on like your price being up or down? That used to be me when I would watch during the NFL days. I would have like at least 5K on every NFL game for what the announcers would say. What was my reaction during the correspondence dinner? I was in Mexico on a trip. I had a ton of no's, actually. If you want to know truly how I traded the correspondence dinner, I was in terrible Wi-Fi. I was abroad. I wasn't streaming. I had about probably 15K in no's. I was sized up so big. Not so big, but I had like 15K. But I felt so good about that event going into it. I was getting incredible fills. And then as soon as the, thing happened, I sold as many no's as I could because I felt it was really likely to go DNQ. So I tried to take as much profits as I could. I still was stuck holding about 10K no's. So that end resolution kind of clawed back like maybe an extra, 1,500 or so or doing 2K or so in profit. But it is what it is. I know some people were upset about whatever. I think that was like literally the best resolution they could have done, like the most fair. Because people are always going to be upset with resolutions. I thought that like kind of settled the most possible, where like people who still bought yes D and Q still get paid out, and people who had no's got refunded last fair price. And I say that as someone who like would have made a lot more if they just went no for everything. Yeah, they usually do, Jeremy. They usually, like, when there's like disputes on mentions, they tend to pay out like at a loss. I mean, you can see what happened with like the common A market. They got so much bad press about that, but they ended up refunding everyone. And honestly, I made a lot of money on that market buying no's because it was kind of a market where if you read the rules and were like native to prediction markets, it was pretty obvious how they were going to settle at last fair price. So I think I had like 50K no across all the common A strikes. Mentions feed, maybe ETF. I was talking about their Discord. Kalshi has a public Discord server that a ton of people hang out in mentions chat. I was checking how they were reacting to this because it's been kind of a crazy turn of events. All right, I'm going to get a quick water break. It's been 2 hours. Please, Trump, don't pop out. Don't pop out. I'll be right back. Don't pop out, Trump. Am I mainly on nose for this market? Yeah, I am. So like I would make more money if it went D and Q. Will I trade NFL mentions again this fall? Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think they'll be a lot more efficient than they were, last year. But I'll trade NFL sports and I'll trade the mentions heavily. All right, D and Q's hovered around 10 cents. Literally all my CLV goes away as soon as this goes open, by the way. How do I approach research? Kind of depends on the market a little bit. But, I mean, you can think about it, right? It's like, it's not that complicated. Like, why not trade NBA mentions? I just don't have good enough data. I didn't invest enough time to get it. And NBA is kind of already close to over, so just don't have good data source for it. But, yeah, for research, if you have a market on what will the NFL announcers say in a game, you can imagine, why don't I look at what the NFL announcers have said in past games, and building out fair values, things like that, doing research to build, your own database of historical games, what they've said, and then try to price things yourself. That's kind of my approach to research. And then for things like Trump, right? Trump is very volatile depending on what type of speech it is. So a lot of my research for Trump is less transcript heavy because he can be kind of volatile, and more so trying to get an edge on like what the event is going to be. I could get DoorDash, but like I don't spend money like that. I got a wedding I'm paying for in August. That shit's expensive. Like, JC, dude, I'm struggling over here. I also didn't sell any of this when it was going. No, I have 1 cent DNQs. I didn't take any profits. What's wrong with me? Exactly, Gustavo. Are we sure? I think 90-10 is probably fair. It's probably open. I mean, they said it's probably going to be open. But that's the thing, Fluoride. Everyone knows about all these edges now. So next year, like, in order for it to be as good as it was last year, there would just need to be so much recreational flow to make up for the fact that, like, NFL announcer mentions are, like, largely solved. I think what they'd have to do is launch brand new strikes. So they'd have to completely shuffle the deck so that it's not a solved game anymore. Like, the truth is, towards the end of the NFL season, the NFL announcer mentions became competitive for, like, the smaller games. But during Super Bowl, there's just so much rec flow that, like, no matter how solved it is or whatever, like, there just weren't enough sharps to take the other side. Yeah, exactly, Relgen. It's like it's competitive, right? Like, people are gonna put in the most effort to get the best data. That's why, like, I was talking with Moon when we did that interview. Is it's like, slot markets can be better because, like, sharper participants aren't gonna care as much about these tiny markets that don't have much liquidity because they don't really care about making $100. Do I see injury often getting said? I use a lot of AI, yeah, Connor. AI is a really helpful tool. The main distinction with AI is, like, you guys shouldn't, like, people are kind of over-reliant on AI. Like, they want to use AI, and they want to submit all the strikes for Trump, and they want to say, oh, Trump's meeting with Lula. Here's the strikes. Here's what the prices are. Can you identify some mispricings for me? And, like, if you try to do that, like, AI is going to be terrible. You have to find the edge yourself, but you can use AI as a tool to help you, right? To compile data and build stuff. Do I only trade mentions? No. I've traded sports. I've traded AI. Those are, like, my 3 categories that I kind of trade profitably. But most of my effort and time is spent on mentions because they're daily, right? Like AI markets, there might not be a new model for a long time. Yeah, exactly, Dr. Slips. Like people literally will do stuff like that and think they're gonna have an edge. You're just gonna get crushed. Get a news aggregator and read. Yeah, news aggregators are extremely useful. And I mean, news aggregator can be as simple as just like building up good Twitter notifications, like finding a group of really good reporters or something that you follow and then aggregating all their tweets. Yeah. You just got to get creative, I guess, is my only thing. I don't have a Discord, but there's a public Kalshi Discord that you know, a lot of people sit in. I think it's in the Kalshi Crypto or Kalshi Trade bio. They have one. You're keeping your no Iran. Kind of surprised Iran at no is now at like 25. See, Loxy's right. Yeah, exactly, Adam. Like following good people. Like some of the simplest stuff in the beginning, if you're trying to find edges, is just to try to 2:30 Eastern time. That's what they just said. That this is happening. Are you serious? Is that what AP is saying? I have to pull up AP comments again. AP just says meeting is delayed. Did roll call update or where are you guys seeing this 2:30? Is that what White House press pool said? Where are we seeing this 2:30? Okay, people are just messing with me. Here I am. I'm sick. Sitting at home. I got some cold or sore throat of people just fudding me on this mention. This marathon mention stream. Why don't they just cancel this meeting? That'd be nice. That's kind of late, Tanya. That was earlier. That was earlier reporting. You're tired. I'm tired. I'm sitting here all day. And I ran out of drinks. I can't even have a few drinks. Wow, that was absolute FUD by that guy, by the way, that reporter. Okay, prices are moving. No, actually, DNQ's still at 10 cents. Tariff got mogged back up to 81. Computer's slow again. Oh, my CLV just completely gone. Wow, rare earth tanked. Someone just market bought nose down to 21. What the hell happened? Crazy. It's funny. This market's done 700K in volume, and I think like literally 1/3 of it's all on D and Q. People shouldn't be buying a ton of D and Q. Yeah, Connor. I mean, I would if I'm just a user, right? You should technically be price. Like as a user, you should just want best price. So it's definitely good to look at other domains, I'd say. I don't do that much now because they don't really have much mentions volume, but yeah, some people got rinsed on buying D and Q. Yes, I guess I would just say, guys, like during like big volatile moments like that, I mean, it's good to act fast, but you got to stay rational. Like someone bought up D and Q, yes, all the way to like 70 cents. Can't freak out, happens, but gotta try to stay calm and cool. All right, there's some. All right, I guess some new Brazilian guy reporting. This is just people sending me stuff, guys. So this could all be FUD, okay? This can definitely be FUD. But Lula asked Trump for a private dialogue before the press enters the Oval Office. They are having lunch. There is no clarity that there will be space for the media. Now, we did see reporting that there would be space for the media, but this was 1 minute ago.
Hace 1 hora y 30 minutos el presidente de Brasil.
All right, this is in Portuguese. Anyone speak Portuguese? I think Dr. Slips might. He's from Brazil. But that's one reporter saying that. But again, I don't know, the Brazilian reporters we're going to find out who was fighting and who wasn't. But he's just saying that there hasn't been time allocated for the oh, that was Spanish? Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Lula speaks Portuguese. Oh, God. I was just assuming that he was going to be speaking in Portuguese. I'm sorry. I wasn't even listening to what he was saying. I swear I'm not that... Yo hablo español. I've angered. I'm canceled. He said it's been an hour since. I heard 30 minutes.
Brasil, Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva llegó aquí a la Casa Blanca y en estos momentos se encuentra detrás de esa puerta. Está sosteniendo un almuerzo con el presidente Donald Trump y otros funcionarios de su gabinete. Se creía que inmediatamente llegar aquí a la Casa Blanca se iba a permitir el ingreso de la prensa al despacho para escuchar unas declaraciones iniciales tanto del presidente Trump como del presidente Lula. Eso no pasó y lo que confirman colegas brasileños es que por petición del gobierno del presidente Lula se quería hablar primero de manera privada con el presidente Trump antes de que la prensa ingresara. De hecho, no es claro si después del almuerzo que están sosteniendo a esta hora se le va a dar ingreso a la prensa. Y hay una particularidad en Brasil y es que así como en Colombia están en pleno escenario electoral. En octubre tienen elecciones y no se ha dicho públicamente, pero sí es la pretensión del presidente Lula y del gobierno de Brasil comunicarle diplomáticamente al presidente Trump que se mantenga al margen de las elecciones en Brasil.
All right, we have some translators in the chat. Just be cautious. Be cautious that people could always be spreading FUD. Exactly. Great use case for AI. He said it's uncertain. He's uncertain. I mean, the market's pricing in some uncertainty. We see this D&Q is 14 cents. So, they still think clearly that this is going to happen. We're going to wait and see. He said Brazilian journalists claimed, let's see. Lula is on elections. He might not want press after due to election in Brazil. He said Brazilian journalists claim Lula asked for the meeting to be closed and that it is not yet confirmed whether press will be allowed afterward because there's election. Dang, that's actually, if that's true, like, that is definitely good for a D&Q case. But, I mean, some reporters said they're going to bring the press in at the end. Brazil intends to ask Trump not to mess with their elections. Wow. Why is election strike so cheap then? does that make sense? I'll hedge with a few Ys. But I don't really get why election was at like 60 before, and now, you know, Trump is going to speak about World Liberty Financial. Right. Does not mean it'll be mentioned in open press. Yeah, for sure. But election was at 60 cents pre-market. Seems like an overreaction that it went down to like 28. I only clicked like 400 shares. I didn't click much, but I mean, just generally, it seems a little crazy. Why does the video of the greeting not count for DNQ? It wasn't live. I mean, did they say anything in the clip? They have to like... Plus, usually greetings typically don't count for bilaterals anyways. Wow, man, this is like just so long. We're just waiting for this guy to come out. I'm solely reliant on let's see what else people are saying. Someone sent another Portuguese thing in here. Oh, someone said this. The meeting between Trump and Lula is lasting much longer than normal. It seems that something serious is being discussed.
Mas ele tem outros conteúdos. Essa visita está durando muito mais tempo do que a gente esperava. Donald Trump tem todo um cronograma para hoje. Ele tem várias reuniões, não reunião de gabinete, mas ele tem outros compromissos aqui na Casa Branca. A Casa Branca divulgou a agenda dele. Então, eu estava até pensando, falando, gente, mas até que horas vai esse compromisso? Porque ele tem outros compromissos aqui no dia. Lula também, né? Lula deve voltar a Brasília ainda hoje. Então, realmente faz a gente pensar o que é que eles estão conversando lá dentro e o porquê exatamente dessa demora, sendo que essa visita tá durando.
Wait, is this actual Portuguese or are you trying to bait me again by calling Spanish Portuguese? They are confused because he has other arrangements. Okay. So the reporters are confused. Lula is supposed to be back in Brazil. Something serious must mean either ballroom or World Cup. Hey, there you go. There you go. Okay, that is actually Portuguese. Got it. How can I not tell? Dude, I'm a freaking American. Okay, is there a live cam so we see if Lula leaves? No, I don't think there's a live cam, but usually White House press reporters would like show it. So sometimes they'll play clips of them like leaving the office, like one of the White House press. So Julia just reported Brazil's President Lula has been at the White House for nearly 2 hours. The White House and Brazilian press corps have not yet been called into the meeting yet. That's what White House is reporting. I have so many reporter things open. I mean, this doesn't really mean anything, but interesting. I should know what Spanish sounds like. Yeah, see, Toad Song's backing me up. I should know what Spanish is. Yo hablo español, but así. Portuguese. How do I say that in? Let's see. Google Translate Portuguese to English. Wait. I do not speak Portuguese. Para inglés. Isn't it supposed to translate this? Is that really how I say I don't speak Portuguese? That sounds like I'm just saying that I speak English. Man, if this actually ends up going DNQ, will be crazy, Rug. But that reporter that I just showed is like the one reporter that's actually a White House reporter. The longer this lasts, the better for your stream. Just the White House stream. All right, we got some more. Oh, it's this Alan Deet guy again. All right, be prepared for more FUD. This is the Brazilian reporter, so just be careful. Take it with a grain of salt. Nothing against. I'm not saying Brazilian reporters are bad, but which one did you send? Did Alan Deet post it? Oh, he did.
Ahora son
All right.
la 1:00
I need a translator, please. The headline message is, we're waiting for Lula, and now they bring him here to the White House without press, and the whole thing drags on without much explanation. Portuguese translator, or not Portuguese. This guy's going to speak in Spanish. Spanish translators, please go.
Esta es la puerta de entrada al despacho Oval y los compañeros brasileños han estado
It's
esperando
currently 1
aquí.
p.m.
Ahora es la 1:15 y han estado esperando aquí. Se han empezado a golpear aquí pues a las 10:30. Pero como podéis ver, están esperando. ¿Qué ha pasado? Bueno, venía Lula, entraba a las 11. A las 11:15 tenían prevista la entrada al despacho Oval la delegación brasileña. Pero primero, ha habido cambios. No se ha abierto a la prensa. Se ha ido demorando. Nos han dicho desde la delegación brasileña que se ha pasado del despacho Oval a la sala del gabinete y están almorzando. Y lo que iba a ser un encuentro abierto por petición de Lula ha sido un encuentro cerrado, según nos dicen aquí. Lula no ha entrado por aquí, que es por donde suelen entrar o han entrado durante muchísimo tiempo los mandatarios con toda la recepción. Trump viene aquí, que esta es la puerta del ala oeste. No. Lula ha entrado por aquí y ha entrado directamente a la columnata sur y ahí le ha recibido el presidente Trump. Sobre esta visita hay varios elementos importantes. Es cierto que han tenido bilaterales, que han hablado ante los medios en algunas ocasiones, que se vieron en Nueva York, que en la Asamblea General de Naciones Unidas, que se vieron en esa cumbre del Pacífico. Pero hay elementos de discordia. El tema de Cuba. Lula es un aliado de la dictadura cubana. El tema del chavismo, que ahí se ha rebajado la tensión, aunque Lula no fue todo lo crítico con Maduro, que sí fueron otros líderes latinoamericanos. Y finalmente el tema Bolsonaro. El hecho de que Bolsonaro haya sido condenado a esos 27 años de prisión. Yo sé que compañeros estadounidenses que estaban esperando también para entrar tenían la pregunta preparada para Lula de si hay persecución política en Brasil, si él opina que está claro que hay separación de poderes en Brasil. La democracia brasileña es como la democracia estadounidense, donde hay una fuerte separación de poderes. Pero claro, ahí está esa duda de si desde algunos jueces como Alexandre de Moraes se ha practicado activismo judicial. Es algo que muchos compañeros de Estados Unidos preguntan. Y bueno, pues aquí se sigue esperando con algo que no es muy normal, ¿no? Ciertamente este nivel de espera, esta demora de horas, no es algo que se haya visto en muchas ocasiones. Es cierto que con Gustavo Petro se cerró a la prensa, pero no es normal convocar a la prensa, tenerla esperando y que no se dé señales, ¿no? Desde la Casa Blanca. Es un cambio de agenda. Nos dicen aquí los de la delegación brasileña que obedece a una petición del equipo de Lula, pero no lo tenemos tampoco muy claro y Trump tiene luego otras cosas en la agenda previstas, ¿no? Bueno, seguiremos pendientes. Puede que lo abran, pueden que no. Está claro que Lula sí que tiene una conversación con la prensa esta tarde en la embajada brasileña. Hay algunos compañeros que tenían esa intención de preguntar sobre el tema de Bolsonaro y hay asuntos delicados también en la relación bilateral que pueden generar tensión, ¿no? Y está claro que ha habido encuentros de Trump con líderes internacionales que han resultado bastante tensos en el pasado. Bueno, vamos a seguir esperando.
Okay, it sounds like someone was saying that he said that they want to ask Lula about Cuba. All right, CNN
Uma informação de última hora que
scenes. But like if they asked Lula about this, it doesn't matter as much as if they were to ask Trump about this, obviously. All right, we got another one that was just sent in from CNN. What is this global peace thing? Press want to ask about Bolsonaro. Iran is getting cheap. He believes it may not happen since it's beyond its time that Lula and the president have other stuff on their agenda. Well, what I think the main risk is for people that are buying DNQ. The main risk of this not happening would be if he leaves and just Trump addresses the press. But I don't know how likely that actually is. But that's somewhat of a risk. I mean, maybe. Like, that's how I would think the worst case it would happen is he would leave and Trump would still take questions about what they talked about, in which case that would go no, by the way. That wouldn't count for bilateral. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's like the probably the biggest risk. I think Trump will still bring people in, but yeah, you're right. They would question Trump about it. All right, this is what CNN's saying. I think this will be in Spanish. Can I please get Spanish translators, please go.
Uma informação de última hora que chega agora com a Mariana Gengiacomo. A reunião já acabou e ambos foram para o almoço, ou seja, a reunião se estendeu para o gabinete, para a sala de almoço do gabinete de Donald Trump.
Oh, this is Portuguese.
Aconteceu a mesma coisa.
Why is it every time I pick Portuguese or Spanish, it's the damn other language?
Aliados de primeira hora. Eles também tiveram uma reunião que se estendeu para a sala de gabinete da Casa Branca, que é onde Donald Trump costuma receber seus ministros de Estado. Quando Trump se reuniu com Javier Milei, a imprensa entrou neste momento, logo na sequência do almoço, para que eles conseguissem tecer alguns comentários. Uma informação de última hora que chega...
Can anyone translate? Anyone speak Portuguese? Linguistically regarded. Look, I'm not a linguist. I never claimed I don't have a specialty in language. That's why I speak the lingua franca. I know that word. Wait up. There was a video someone else had sent. I think Drag or something had sent something. All right, they're waiting for the press now? Okay, so it's the same stuff we've been hearing. Huh. Oh, pull up Google Translate on phone? That's actually not a bad idea. I really think there is a good edge here if you like speak both Portuguese and Spanish fluently. What's this a la dente guy saying? He just posted something else. Is this another video or is he reposting the same video? He just reposted the same video. This makes me think this a la dente guy is fudding. He just posted it again. Alright, is there anyone else? I have look at the letter C in the title that's only Portuguese. Alright, see, someone actually is giving me a helpful tip. Alright, we're not watching that guy again. All right, let's check. Let me check mentions disc chat. See if there's any good. All right, let's see. We see this this post. What is that a fair image of Lula? I don't think this is fair. I don't think this is fair. I don't think that's how he normally looks. I think that was a FUD. Alright, who is this guy? Leandro Rochelle. At Lula's request, the press cannot... Oh, well, that's... What is Lula so afraid of? Okay, it seems like a lot of Brazilian reporters are negative on Lula. All right, let me check the White House press reporters. If they posted any updates or if it's still nothing. Okay, the press pool says, your pool still has not been called to gather for the bilateral meeting. I've inquired with the White House if they have any updates. We'll share if I get them. That's from the White House press pool. I don't know if that's bullish or negative for DNQ. Here, this is from the press pool. Let me pull this up. Personal opinion on if this qualifies or not? You mean like if they're gonna open press or not? I think they're gonna do some press, but I don't know Lula enough. It sounds like this Lula guy really doesn't want to do open press. So, like, if Lula doesn't want to do open press, then it sounds like it's at least live that he might not do it. But I mean, I hope it's closed press. I'm personally, I have 2K DNQ, right? So I'd love it to be closed press, but I don't really think I have like an edge on like whether or not this is open or closed. But yeah, this is what the White House press pool just reported. Your pool still has not been called together for the bilateral meeting. I've inquired for the White House. We'll share if I get them. Yeah, Bolsonaro's son is running, so maybe doesn't want the press. It's an unpopular topic that Trump would clash with them on. Probably reasonable. I mean, Trump loved Bolsonaro. Tanya says Lula is scheduled a press conference at the Brazilian embassy in the afternoon, likely mid to late afternoon Washington time, 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, depending on how the morning runs. I mean, how the hell would he make that? Oh, I guess Brazilian embassy. Okay, so he still could make that if it's 2 to 5 p.m., depending on when they push it back to. Sounds like they don't have a hard scheduled date. But let's... Well, my whole point, Connor, is like Lula doesn't have to agree to the press. Like he could leave, like, and just not go in front of the press. Like it's up to Lula. And if Trump could bring press in, right? But like if it's just Trump, that doesn't resolve yes for this event because it'd have to be between both of them. DNQ sits at 19 right now. I think it got to a high of like 25 a little while ago. So there's still a lot of uncertainty. Very interesting. I still have not really... I have not entered any positions. Like I said, I don't think I have a edge here with predicting whether or not this is going to be open. My edge lies in predicting what Trump will say. All right, we got some more. It seems like some more stuff came out from these Brazilian reporters. Let's see what this is. Oh no, it's the same thing. It's that Brazilian reporter again. But yeah, I mean, this can easily just go open. He'll bring the press back in. You know, the fact that White House still is a stream running. I mean, the fact that White House started their stream early means there's definitely some disconnect with what's going on. I think maybe we'll go Y on DNQ because it's an election and Lula is negotiating for Trump not to endorse the other candidate, but anything can happen. I mean, Trump would probably want this to be open press then, right? If he's going to do that, because Trump would want him to, like, kind of glaze him on national TV, right? See, we got a White House reporter making a tweet about leftover salad right now. John Bennett says, Trump Lula bilateral pool spray now 2 hours and 15 minutes late. Just another suspenseful episode of the Trump show. Doesn't really tell us anything. Doesn't seem like any of the American reporters really know what's going on. Oh, turn up my mic? All right, I'm going to turn up my mic. Let me know if this is now too loud. Maybe Lula doesn't want to be associated as a friend at all. Your 6K DNQY in a Mexican standoff with all your other Ys. Well, yeah, look, that's good then. You're hedged, right? So, I mean, I think the main move is going to be right when this goes open to buy as much cheap yes strikes as possible. Because, like, obviously a ton of strikes have come down significantly. Still unknown whether there'll be a press conference. Who just reported that? This is such a marathon. It's just going on so late. Look, I would love for this to be closed press, man. Can finally get a win after all this variance. Portuguese standoff. Interesting. Lula and his followers, Trump is literally Hitler? Is that accurate? Oh my god, I mean, I know he's like pretty far left. This is going to hit 1 million in volume before it even starts. Yeah, I know. And it's all going to be like D&Q volume. What's crazy is like, if this event was around like a month ago when mentions were like peaking in volume and this was front page. By the way, I still don't think this is front page. Like this event should do so much volume. Like, how is this not front paged? It was posted last night. It just hasn't been front page. If this was front page, this would have like 3 mil in volume, by the way. Wow, DNQ up to 22 cents. But it's probably a good thing to not front page a DNQ event. 12K wall, DNQ, yes. Wow, 12K wall at 20 cents on DNQ, yes. Someone bidding to buy it. That is crazy. Either someone's trying to sell out of their big position they entered, or like yeah, so if this event does not happen, then DNQ goes yes and all other strikes go no. The only risk is that they will hold the event open for like I think a day, and if they release clips of the bilateral meeting, which would be crazy because it's not even recorded, then if that were to happen, then actually I think DNQ would still go Y, but all strikes would go last fair price. But I don't really think there's a risk that like they're going to send out clips of, you know. All right, let's see. Trump's looking to restart Project Freedom. Yes, HHLE. All things would go no if this goes DNQ. But like I said, the only risk is if clips are released. But doesn't seem like there's a reasonable risk of clips being released in this event, because like there's no world that anyone would even be taking clips like if it's not open to the press. Like they're not going to leak this meeting. Man, what is happening? DNQ is now up to 30 cents. Holy cow. Dustin, you would be shocked. I would try, honestly, so Dustin brings up a good point. You can probably potentially market make like a no strike and a yes DNQ. Potentially, like there might be, man, some news must have dropped. Like things are surging. DNQ is up to 31. I think some news dropped. I mean, I assume. I'm sorry, Varun, about the DNQ ARB alpha. Yeah, MM33. Someone was bonding 99-cent DNQ. No, I don't understand it. Like, I don't always buy DNQ, but in this example, like, it's insane to think that there was only a 1% chance this would go close press. Bizarre. I don't know. There's just so many people that would just do crazy bonds. Holy cow, man. DNQ is surging. There must be news. But, like, look, DNQ's at 40. It's close to tariff price. It's higher than tariff price. What is happening? DNQ up to 50 cents. Something has to have come out. Oh, man. Yeah, MM33. I clicked a bit of that. It's now 50-50 on DNQ. Holy. DNQ, yes, and Iran are trading pretty close in price. Yeah, some bonder is... Dude, it's not going to be good for whoever was bonding this. But honestly, if you can afford to bond 50K on something like this, then it's kind of on you, you know? That was a... but let's see. Maybe they'll get bailed out. Okay, it's back down to 43. Man, this is a crazy event. We haven't had a classic rug event in a while. Does anyone have new info on like what's causing this recent pump to 40? Is anything happening? Has anything come out? All right, now it's back down to 38. I don't know what's happening. I mean, surprisingly, like, look at some of these strikes. In terms of, like, good hedges, guys. Let's see. Like, no rare earth up to 70. I don't know. 10K wall at 40. Oh my gosh. Is there really? No, I got clicked. This is insane. I'm not seeing anything. Let me check. Like, Trump admin said they're looking to restart Project Freedom. Oh, now it's tanking. It's tanking. Something's happening that's making this seem open. Press pool update or anything? Tanked back to 20 cents. Someone clicked a ton. I don't know what's... Is there any info? I don't see anything. All right, DNQ went from 40 to 20. Don't know what... Yeah, but it's crazy the amount of size. Like, people are putting up like 10K walls. Moonlight on vacation causing volatility. Yeah, I wonder what Moon would be on here. What would Moon do? That's what you got to think. Yeah, I mean, anytime you have like semi-illiquid stuff, it's like anything can move the prices pretty easy on these. Yeah, see, Krill? Krill just did a sick ARB, by the way. That's the way to do it. Those are, he literally had a risk-free ARB for 89 cents market making between both. That's the move right there, Krill. That's what you want to be doing. All right, let's see. They're talking about suspicious oil trades. I'm not getting anything. Yeah, I'm not getting anything on this. What is happening? Is David Aladente posting anything? Any more FUD from David? 757 shares, not much but honest work. Yeah, but like you start small like that. That's literally how I started, just arbing like that. That was all I did for like the first like almost a year I was on PMs. It's just good because doing stuff like that will it'll help you think about this type of stuff, you know? The DNQ bubble of 2026. Briefly explain tariff no again. I mean, everything now is just resting on if this is DNQ or not. The reason I bought tariff no was just like before all this DNQ stuff started, all we had to go off of was that they were going to talk tariffs and, you know, tariffs and crime. But, you know, Lula doesn't speak English, so that's going to take Trump out of flow state. I didn't think they'd have opening remarks. I just thought 90.10 was too high for tariffs pre-market. So that's why I bought no at 10 cents. Obviously now it's completely changed because Trump, like this literally might not be happening. So that's like mostly what's reflected in the tariff no price is just this event being closed. Still like no new reporting that I'm seeing come through. Apparently he was ripping. No, but that's like old news. What is Sophia called posting? Politico. Wow, President Trump. Okay, Trump did an interview with the Post. Is there anything on the weekly? What is going on in the Trump said Queens and Brooklyn. Exactly, Axu. I'm like, what's going on? Been here forever. Now I'm checking if Trump hit anything in this. Doesn't look like Trump hit anything in this New York Post article. Gotta check those weeklies. Yeah, market up to 28 cents on DNQ. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna push this back to 1, so they can get rid of this buffer, especially because they're not actually airing this. Or are they just perma buffering on this stream? Okay. White House stream now at 1-1, so you guys won't see the permanent rotating. Yeah, DNQ slowly up to 30 cents again. But, I mean, I don't think there's, like, crazy size. Like, you can see it's, like, it's not super liquid. All right, what's coming out now? Rapid response. Is Trump truthing? No. Oh, it's a White House spokesman. Rig, you didn't miss anything. It has not started yet. And DNQ is only at 30 cents. By the way. We are waiting by. We are on standby for if this is happening or not. I'm monitoring the Brazilian news outlets. I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, how did your final go, Rig? Damn, this sucks. Look, we're just waiting. No news from Brazilian press. If they leave White House and as he's leaving, they go to the press gaggle, does that count? If they're both together and they show it on the White House stream, probably a good chance that would count. Oh, we got some more Brazilians. Let's see. Wow. Lula and Trump's meeting started at 11 a.m. And the two presidents... Let me remove this. The two presidents decided to continue it over lunch. The delegations just changed rooms. Media reports say Lula asked everyone on his team to speak only in Portuguese during the visit, even those fluent in English. This is so weird. Nothing from AP even. I don't know, MM33. It would definitely be a dispute. I think they'd probably count it if it was both of them together. Lula's in jail? Brazil wants the press conference more than Trump. Interesting. Yeah, I saw the UFC fighters in the Oval yesterday. What was the beast? Was like, huh? Is eating up your Eurovision research time? I don't think that Eurovision research doesn't even sound fun. We got some news on the lunch. I have a lunch menu to share. They had head of romaine salad, jicama, orange fillets, avocado citrus dressing, grilled beef fillet, bean puree, baby sweet peppers, radish pineapple relish. And for dessert, they had caramelized summer peaches and honey panna cotta, torte creme fraiche ice cream. I don't think I necessarily have an edge here, Rig, on like if this is happening or not. I mean, seems possible. All right, I'll delete the lunch alpha. I shouldn't have shared this. You think Maduro is correlated to that menu? I'm just checking mentions chat to see what the hell's going on. If anyone's... All right, I might be sharing FUD. This is going to be FUD. Don't listen to this. This is totally FUD. Yeah, this is FUD. But it's funny FUD. Trump got into Lula's head psychologically. Wow. I can't show the image here. Let me whoa. This is FUD, by the way, but it's, you know, it's interesting. It's starting at 299 ET. All right, we got something from Lula official. Is this the original greeting that I missed? Man, people do not like Lula. It's a lot of negative press on Lula. All the comments are just like people very angry at Lula. Yeah, the stock music was nice. What is this? All right, CNN is analyzing the handshake between the two. This is analysis. I believe this is in Portuguese, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But we have some analysis of the handshake.
Bom, vamos ver as imagens que o Lula acabou de postar nas redes sociais. O presidente brasileiro postou a chegada dele na Casa Branca. Ali, o cumprimento a Donald Trump, as bandeiras brasileira e americana no portão sul da Casa Branca, em frente ao Gramado Sul, onde Donald Trump embarca no helicóptero quando ele faz trajetos internos dentro dos Estados Unidos. Aí o cumprimento, a Tainá Falcão bem comentou, dessa vez Donald Trump não puxou o Lula. Isso costuma ser uma estratégia até de convencimento de Donald Trump quando quer intimidar algum adversário ou aliado. Nesse caso, foi um cumprimento mais amistoso. A saída, então, de Donald Trump para o cumprimento de Lula, isso foi postado agora há pouco. E Tainá Falcão. Bom, vamos ver as imagens que o Lula acabou.
Is there anything to be gleaned from that? Anything to be gleaned? Or is that more useless news? I'm going to ask White House chat if this is happening. Should I do my mentions tier list while we wait? I swear, then Trump's going to come and I'm going to miss all these clicks. Maybe I should do a mentions tier list. Oh man, I could be eating lunch right now. Did not expect this to be. We're already 3 hours on the stream. Like, what are they talking about to do this long of a meeting? This is so unusual to do a. ASMR mention tier list. All right, let's see. They're having lunch. You just got a text. Trump dropped a nuclear Kirk. Dang. Logan is currently sitting on 30,000 DNQ. Yes, at like 1 or 2 cents. All right, I might have to crank out the mentions tier list. But I feel like I need more sustenance. What other mentions could they add? I don't know. I think I'm less so like adding new mentions and having a few really good mentions that are center and get a ton of volume. That's what I feel like is big. Like this Trump one should be huge, you know, like the one going on right now, and then you know, like Powell, all that stuff. All right, let me see. I'm gonna grab snacks. I'll be back. We're gonna do round 2. Can't eat any more Cliff Bars. Yeah, we are still monitoring the situation way longer than we anticipated. DNQ, by the way, is now back close to 40 cents. So it's like slowly treading up. But there's no liquidity. So it's pretty illiquid. So people still think more likely than not that this happens. I don't know if peanuts are the move. Oh, shoot. If you guys have a day job, I'm sorry. 3 hours of watching this. Waiting for some news to drop. Man, I should start looking at where... maybe I'll do a DoorDash pickup. I'm going to be so starving after this. Maybe I'll get some, like, pad thai or something. Where are you seeing that, P? Just now live? Is that real?
State moves to crack down on ICE operations. State moves to crack down on ICE operations.
Do you have a clip of that? Do you have a clip, P, where they said that? Right at 2 p.m.? Shoot, I can't rewind Fox News, so... Is there any way I can rewind Fox News? Message you? Okay. Someone is saying Fox News reported that it's coming back. I can not confirm the validity. Is that fake news? Here, I just followed you back. I mean, that's really good edge if you're saying they actually said that on Fox News. I guess a video was posted to Lula's account. White House reporter just said, still waiting for updates from the White House on the meeting, but this video was just posted to Lula's account. So Lula posted the meeting, but apparently White House press pool still has not received updates. All right, let me see.
All right, President Trump is set to speak. We promise. We just haven't gotten word when that's happening. But he is set to speak live in the White House any moment now as he is meeting with.
So Fox News is saying he's set to speak. Let me see if I can pop this out. We're getting some exclusive coverage from Fox News. I'll show it right now. This is the Fox News reporting.
All right, President Trump is set to speak. We promise. We just haven't gotten word when that's happening. But he is set to speak live in the White House any moment now as he is meeting with the President. All right, President Trump.
Sorry, it's not very loud.
We promise. We just haven't gotten word when that's happening. But he is set to speak live in the White House any moment now as he is meeting with the President. All right, President Trump is set to speak. We promise. We just haven't gotten word when that's happening.
President Trump is set to speak. We promise. We just haven't gotten word about when that is happening. All that says, though, is that Trump is set to speak. So, I mean, while it is good, like, thing to think about, I mean, does that just mean that maybe just Trump would speak after and, like, no Lula? Because that's not going to go why. But Fox promised, yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, if Lula's not there, it wouldn't count. So, okay, this Al Dente guy is saying something. All right, so here's we're getting some more reporting from Al Dente. Al Dente says, from the White House with Lula and Trump, however you look at it, this is not usual. Here it is relatively common for an event close to the press to end up opening by Trump's decision. What's strange is the opposite, that the press is summoned and the event is then closed, as has happened with Lula this Thursday. According to sources consulted, the request came from the Brazilian delegation. Several U.S. journalists told me today that they wanted to ask the Brazilian president whether the conviction of Jair Bolsonaro amounts to political persecution from the executive branch or from the judiciary. It was an uncomfortable question for Lula, and without doubt, in my opinion, it helps explain why Brazil preferred to keep everything, or at least a decisive part of the meeting, behind closed doors. So it sounds like he just thinks the press is going to ask really bad questions to this Lula guy. So they don't know what's going to happen, but it seems like they want to at least shield Lula from the Brazilian press. This is just a weird situation, no matter how you slice it. Oh, we're getting some more reporting coming in. Oh, apparently this is like what happened behind closed door, maybe an injury. This could potentially be explaining the closed press. Something to think about. That could explain it. I don't know how they're going to resolve a tax. I didn't hear any language coming from it, so it's questionable. Do they want to have injury markets? That's a fair question to bring up of how they're going to resolve on that. So a lot of good questions. It might be a difficult resolution for the Kalshi team. Crypto to pay for medical bills. Definitely a solid angle. Wow, holy shit. DNQ surging. Something just happened. What the hell? DNQ up to 60 cents. DNQ up to 70 cents. Is there a fourth update? DNQ is pumping. DNQ now at 80 cents. What's happening? 90 cents. Something broke somewhere. I mean, I will take profits at 90. Probably. What is happening? Crazy that DNQ, by the way, went higher than freaking yeah, DNQ now at 85. By the way, we're doing all right. Let's go. Let me sell out of this at 95. Seems like this is over. I don't know. People are pumping. I don't know the news. Alante confirmed? Wait, what do you mean? Confirmado? So we're getting reports from this Alante guy that it's not happening. Confirmed. There will be no part of the Trump and Lula meeting open to the press. Lula is leaving here from the White House. An unusual change after unexpected. Wow. This appears to be going closed. Holy. This is actually, I mean, this is from one Brazilian reporter, guys. I'm not telling you to buy or sell, but this might actually be closed. Crazy. I'm getting filled at 94 on my sells, which I will take, I guess. This guy is saying DNQ, or this guy's saying that it's not open to the press. I don't know. Holy shit! I sold all my DNQ at 90, by the way. Wow. Sold my tariff at. Tariff is bonded. No. I think it's not happening. That's what it seems to be. I mean, I've taken profits on most things. Sorry, I was just trying to like sell, so I wasn't sharing, but because I'm trying to execute orders, I'm not as locked in on talking about this, but we will take this. Pretty good. Dang, I guess I should have gone bigger on no's, man. I was trying to get a ton of no's before this. Try to sell that at 94. sell my Biden no maybe at like 96. All right. Well, we'll take that. Should have listened to you, Jack. Dude, Jack, I had like 5. I did fine. You know, I'll take it. I made 2,700. I bought DNQ. No, I can't be upset. Yeah, I think this is... All right, let me sell into these. Okay, sold my yes there. I will sell all of these. All right, well, that's a pretty great finish. Very happy that this one DNQ. Yeah, I had 2K DNQ at I had 2K DNQ at a penny, by the way. I bought it for a penny this morning. So, there's people like Logan that had literally 30K DNQ. White House ended too? Yeah, this is over. Well, rip. White House ended live. Yeah, that's a wrap. I'll go to 1 cent here. I'm just gonna sell all my yes. Okay. All right. I am out of all my positions. I guess I should hold for like a 7-cent discount though. Probably should have just gotten the extra $200. All right, well, we came out pretty well on this because we held all our DNQ. So I had 2K DNQY at 1 cent. Look at that. We bought yes. I bought 3K at a penny, man. I should have just held it all, but I sold 1K at 4 cents. I'm just glad I didn't sell the rest. Wow, wasn't I talking about it before about how happy I'd be if I had held it and then it actually worked out? Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we provided on-the-ground reporting as the news came out on this event being canceled. I wish I caught the Alandente tweet earlier, but this was a big rug. Holy cow. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for following the PMT exclusive reporting on this legendary White House event. We will be back as always. Take care. GG's.